Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Madcapper and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends. And today I want to talk to you about end game tips and tricks. This is not an exhaustive list. Some of this may be in the mid game, pushing into the end game. Other things, really these aren't things you have to worry about until you reach the end game, but there are things that you may or may not be thinking about. Also, a little bit of engagement in the comments down below. List anything you do in the end game or you feel should be done by end game players that I didn't list. I'd love to hear what you guys do and prioritize in the end game. So without further ado, let's get into the top 10 things you should be doing in the end game. All right, number one here, we're going to talk about the guild boss. Now, this is probably one of the most important and most neglected things. I truly believe not enough people do this, and it is to your own detriment. Look, it's really fun putting up ridiculous numbers like, you know, wow, look, you just did 193, 167, 165. The reality is you need 72. And unless you are specifically, as a content creator, for example, pushing this content for a video, or you're just in a mood to do a comp and see how much you can do, you need to scale back how much damage you're doing in the clan boss by reducing the gear on the team. I used to do 181 million. I got myself down to, where am I? Oh, I haven't done mine today. Let's see what I do today. Well, let's see what we can claim. Oh, I got a book. Oh, I got a void shard. That's a pretty nice double pull. Oh, I got nothing. And ugh, I got nothing. Okay, so let's run it here. This is the team. This is an old team. It's the Myth Fu. It's all champions that I do not use anywhere else in the game, and I have slimmed down their gear requirements significantly. So that, and I'm still doing 111 damage, but this is something that I have been guilty of. I push so hard. I want to get that high number. You don't need it. You need 72 million in all affinities. As long as you're hitting 72 million, in this case, on force affinities, a tough one because Draco's such a big damage dealer, and frankly, Seeker puts out pretty good damage too. Don't waste your gear on these champions. You need that gear on better champions. You need that gear for other content that you're pushing in the end game, like Hydra. Where Hydra, honestly, there is no limit to Hydra because of the Hydra class. There's the Cursed City. You need that endgame gear to put on epic champions at significant times. So there's my first tip. Make sure that you are minimizing your clan boss throughput to the bare minimum you need for gear. Reduce the gear on your champions. Make sure your comp still works, but use that gear elsewhere. The second tip, and this is probably a no-brainer, but I'll mention it here anyway, is speed running dungeons. Once you're in the end game, your whole purpose, now that you've taken off some good gear, maybe from your clan boss, is to get these to go as fast as possible, incrementally so. However, when I say speed runs for dungeons, it's whatever's acceptable to you for your farming needs. For example, free-to-play players won't have as much energy. If you're running free-to-play and you're running your energy at specific times during tournaments or events, for fusions, those sort of things, then does it really matter how fast your team is? The answer is no. The flip side is, it does matter how many turns you take for some of those special tournaments that are turn tournaments. So you're gonna have to balance this out. Is it more important to have the speed, or is it more important to have the gear somewhere else? Because I do spend some money in this game still, I do make sure that my runs are reasonably fast and reasonably low turns. As you can see, I've really kind of pushed some good times in my opinion. I've just finally gotten my Fire Knight. Maybe there'll be a video coming soon about my new Fire Knight team, but the reality is speed is not king here. It's a matter of efficiency, and a lot of the times that efficiency is more important to not have those fastest speed runs. Again, similar to the clan boss, you get the gear regardless. Now the question is, can you do your overnights? Can you do your spare time runs in these 4 tournaments and events and still get those top levels in like the tournament turn style tournaments as opposed? So just make sure that you have what you can personally accept as a speed, and then you're using it efficiently in the tournaments. Number 3, and this is one I have done, but I'm very lazy in updating, and that is making sure you're using the different tags for your champions. And it's more than you think. Yes, absolutely. For example, I have not updated it, so I am I should listen to myself here. But if you check the champion tags, you can sort it. I have Arena Build 2, and that's for my champions pool that I'm going to be using potentially in Live Arena. These are the champions. There's a few missing. Well, I'll see if he's on there. Maybe I have them all. But there's more. For example, if you're doing Hydra and you're building out Hydra teams, why not build out your team using number 3? So I use 3 on any time I'm retuning a team to push damage or anything, and it doesn't have to be Hydra. If there's any area that I'm working on a team, I use team 3, and then once I'm done, like I'm done here, I can move them back to favorites. Let's see, this one's the faster one, right? And you can, once you can move it back there. Now, if you need multiple, 1, 2, and 3 will work perfectly fine for you, obviously. But I just move them to favorites in case I need to find them again. But moving that, using that 3 moniker especially, but 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 if you need to, really helps you build out teams when you're in the mode of tuning, fine-tuning, those sort of things. Very important to do, and I think it just speeds up your day, obviously. And then on top of that, for 3v3 Arena, use Arena Tag, and then for Live Arena, use Arena Tag 2. Obviously, if you are using many of them in both, whichever is more important to you. I find Live Arena is more important to be able to have those tags first. So I would say your Live Arena should be priority, then maybe your 3v3 or and then probably your main arena you're using pre-build. So you probably don't need the tags in that. Maybe even in 3v3 you don't need it. But you know, using those tags to be able to find your teams specifically when you're building them and working on them and tuning them makes it a lot easier in this particular moment. So that is my number 3, use tags on champs. As luck would have it, Plarium obviously knew I was doing this video. Use your gear removal costs. We just started today. We got a 3-day, 16-hour gear removal, 100%. But it's not just using that. That's a no-brainer. Save yourself some silver. Do your re-gears during this moment to retune all your Hydra, your anything. Like when we're talking about retuning your clan boss, now's the time to do it. Take that gear off there, lower the gear requirements, see what you can do for damage to drop it out and use cheaper gear. But I'm talking about finding that gear that is garbage on champions that it shouldn't be. And you can do this during the free re-gear. That's the best time to do it because you can sell the gear and make some pretty penny, right? You can use a lot. You can use fitting, you can use equipped. Look at all, like this right here. I don't need this. It's in the HP life set. It's got a double crit rate, but the other 2 don't fit with it. I don't use a lot of life set. That's a perfect opportunity. I have fitting room. I don't know why. Here's a perfect opportunity to remove this piece. Find this piece. Find this piece. Like, look how many pieces that I could remove right now just in rare gear. I sell probably 99% of my rare gear. So here's an opportunity, find all that rare gear and get rid of it and sell it. That's going to make it easier because then you're going to look at a champion that you might use once in a while. Like here, if I used her on Bommel, I don't, but for example, if I use her on Bommel, I can retool her, put her in some slightly better gear, which is effectively going to reduce my total gear in here. At 936 out of 1500, I'm sure many of you are at 1499 of 1500 and killing it. That's an easy way just to find that gear and remove it from your vault so that you can actually use other. But use that during gear removal. Get rid of that old unwanted gear that's on equipped champions that you may not use those champions very often anymore. You may not even need to rebuild them. Maybe you put it on them when you were running the Cursed City. Get rid of that gear, and then you can use other gear that you probably have better. Like all this gear that I have here potentially, and that's anything that's level 16 is potentially better than some of that gear that I have on champions that I just haven't gotten around to actually removing. Number 5, and I won't show here, but make a calendar. This is something I don't do, and I swear to gosh, did I just turn into Ned Flanders? I swear to God, I don't know why I don't. if you're actively playing in this game, and what I mean by actively playing is you are significantly pushing towards a goal, be it fusion, be it just what you want to do on a daily basis with your energy, gear removal costs. Anytime you find out these things, just do a calendar, do it in Google, or do it on paper if you have to, and just each day write what you got to put in, what you got to do. To me, you can look at it and it's fun, but if you actually if you needed to, go open up Outlook or something, print off the monthly calendar for the month, and just write in what you need to do as you need to do it, especially for fusions, but just in general. And then you sit down to your computer and you look at it and you go, okay, today I have to run Fire Knight because I'm you don't even have to say why. Well, obviously, when you were prepping the calendar, well, you have Dungeon Divers, you have Fire Knight, and you have a fusion all going on at once, so you want to do them. You just write down Fire Knight, maybe an F beside it or something like that in brackets. Something like that. That'll organize your day. This game takes way too much time to play. It's one of the biggest gripes I've had. It's one of the biggest gripes many people have had. And so the combat of that is really using your time efficiently. Hey, if you're a young savant and you can do that all in your head, great. I lost that ability about 15 years ago, so write it down, make a calendar, and just sit down and go, oh, today I have to do Fire Knight. Today I have to do Ice Golem. Today I have to do my Hydra. And that way you can just sit down, you know what you're going to do, you're going to plan your day way more efficiently, and you're going to spend less time playing this game more than you actually want to. Number 6, and we'll see if we have it, buy 6-star gear. I actually have to do plan quests here. Buy 6-star gear. Oh, it looks like there's no rest for the wicked. Didn't it just reset this morning? Or reset it yesterday? That's my fault. Is there anything I can do here? I think I can use 10 rank 5 or higher. Anyway, forget about that. Go to the clan shop, buy 6-star gear. Of course, they don't have the 6-star gear available here. This core hammer, trash. Don't spend it. But there is one thing here that is 6-star. I don't have either of the gear sets. It's the 6-star. Go away. Go away. Go away. 6-star. God, this is. I wish it was there. I should have looked for Killstroke. Thank you. Killstroke gear. You can buy 10 pieces. It's relatively cheap. It is the cheapest and most effective way to get 6-star, potentially legendary items. Why wouldn't you? What possible scenario could you not have to want to get mythical? I have all this gear. In fact, I have to go through some of it. Some of it's probably no longer reasonable. But the reality is you can roll gear and you can get these pieces here. This is a good piece for an HP nuker, right? God, I hate resistance. Triple HP. This one's okay. Keep it around. But where else can you get free guaranteed 6-star gear of epic or higher? Well, there is no other place. It's here. Now, further to that, you may also want to buy the 5-6-star gear, but that's not something I'm going to tip. That's up to you. I don't buy these accessories because I run so much Spider that the 10 I can get a week, if I can get it every week, is still not going to put an even dent in all the other stuff. Plus, the reality is we're using more stone skin sets. We're using more the old Rathalos set. I don't even remember what it's called anymore. Those are going to be more important. So I think the only must purchase in this whole pool, this whole clan shop, is those 6-star pieces. The rest of it is up to you. Do you need legendary books? Do you need epic books? Do you need the chaos ores? If you do, buy those as well. But I don't think there's a person in this game that says, oh, I don't have enough 6-star epic or legendary or mythical gear. So just do that. That's just a no-brainer. And further to that, if you are a spender, this is perfect timing. Thank you, Plarium. If you're a spender, the best way to get the gear you need, the 6-star legendary gear, for the best chance at rolling, is to purchase it. Now, I don't purchase gear because I'm not there. But if you are a big spender, the amount of energy. So, for example, if I bought $30 of worth of energy and I put that into, in this case, Clan Boss. Let's pretend this is anything else. Speed gear. 6-star speed gear. If I put $30 of worth of energy into the level 10 hard dragon, which I can run in 30 to 40 seconds, depending on RNG, I would get guaranteed, near guaranteed, that I would not get 6 legendary pieces. And this is something that people have known for years, but in case you're watching this and you didn't know that, If you are a spender and you buy energy specifically for dragon runs or Fire Knight runs or spider runs, you're better off not spider runs, ice golem runs. You're better off just buying this. This also comes with 6-star legendary chaos ore so that they can boost the price. There used to be at least ones that didn't have that, which was cheaper, but this is going to be a better value for you, believe it or not, than buying the equivalent energy to run that area. Now, Cruel Set obviously isn't a good example because you don't get that from dungeons. You get it from the clan boss, and buying keys isn't going to help you once you're in the end game because you're one king, probably Nightmare, at least Nightmare, Ultra Nightmare, probably Brutal as well. So buying keys would be useless. But in this particular case, if it was any of the sets that are obtained from dungeons that you need, I'm hoping to see curse sets out there because I think those are real high value now. Buy them. And this even goes doubly, even though the price is steep, this goes doubly so for Mythic. I've seen the 6-star Mythic out there, 6 pieces of Mythical. For example, I have run the Forge for Perception Gear and trying to get 6-star Mythical, and I am 0 for 80. 80 pieces built, not a single one using the Mythical chance to get a Mythical. Now that's bad odds for me, really bad odds, but that's just tells you how much in dollar resources would that have cost me. If I could just buy a 6-star Mythical set, it'd probably cost me a lot less. So if you are a spender, consider buying the gear sets over buying the energy. On this conversation, when we talk about the Forge, there are only 2 places, and I am guilty, but arguably even only one place you should be using your lethal charms, your mythical charms. I keep saying lethal. Your mythical charms. The number 1 place, in my opinion, is lethal gear. Lethal gear is so important in this game. It's the best damage dealer. It gives you crit rate. It gives you 25%, ignores 25% of enemy defense. It's obviously better than Savage. It is the most important. You want to save up for it. When I get to the end of Doom Tower and I have all my resources, I'll run them off. I'm going to save my mythic charms that I'm going to get from the Cursed City, and then I'm going to run through and just try to get as much gear as possible that I possibly can. But you could also argue, if you bought and you had some good Slayer resources, maybe you can use Mythical and Slayer. I don't think there's anywhere else other than Perception. Perception is probably the 3rd one, and I'm stopping that because I think I'm okay now with my need for Perception. Though Perception's a nice easy one. Save your rank charm, save your rarity charm, save your mythical charms for lethal, and maybe Slayer set, because that's where you're going to get your most value. That's where the endgame pieces are that you can actually forge. Endgame, figure it out. Figure out how to do it, but you should be running these free resources. The Doom Tower is great resources, especially on the Dark Fae. Now, you can argue to me, and I would be okay with it, that 90% of this stuff that you get going up these is not that important. Yeah, there's a few rank charms and a few rarity charms. There's some energy. Chickens, brews, whatever. Diamonds are pretty low numbers. You do get a couple shards at the end and a couple books, but it's not that massive. But on this rotation, I don't think you have a choice but to run the Doom Tower because the Dark Fae is so important for that lethal gear. On this note, also, Cursed City, if you don't care about this, if you only do one thing, search for all these mythical ups. Do all the mythical ups. Let's see, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I have not done nearly enough, but I think what I do, or what I try to do, is I will go for him. I will go for Centranos on the rotations that I get around to it, and I will beat him, hopefully. And then all the extra energy, I'm just trying to get to these mythics. They're more important than anything else. Yeah, you can get extra shards here. Who cares about shards? You have the champions. You're in the end game. You've won the game. Now the only job is to win the game against live opponents, which is much more difficult. Hydra Clash, live arena, those sort of things. Mythic charms are so important to this game in the end game for your lethal gear, like we just talked about. And this is where you get them. They're all over here, and they're here in the easy. They're here in the medium. They're here in the difficult. They're all over the place. Make sure you're hunting and searching to do your Doom Tower when it's Fae rotation at minimum. And also, of course, Curse. Now, keep in mind also in the Doom Tower, when the Fae is live, get to the top Fae, the farm Fae. Maybe you can't farm top Fae, then the next one down. Then do all your secret rooms. Because then you can just offload a ton of auto battles on the Fae when you get those extra keys for doing the secret rooms. I don't do the secret rooms anywhere else for any other reason except for when it's Fae, because I want those extra keys to be able to run as many opportunities on the Dark Fae as I possibly can. And then the final one, and this is the most important. This is triply, quadruply more important. That red dot's going to bother me. This is quadruply more important than anything else I've mentioned. Don't forget to have fun in the game. If the game is not fun for you, you need to take a look at whether you want to still play the game at all. And if the answer is yes, what it'll take for you to have fun. All the things I told, don't do any of them if it doesn't make it fun for you. If you don't need to. The reality is there's about 100, 200, 500 people maybe who are going to be endgame live arena, who are going to be mainstays in platinum arena. You can sneak in there because a lot of live arena players, a lot of endgame players don't even do arena anymore, regular arena. But if the grind is unfun and you're losing a lot and you're frustrated, remember that you're not likely one of those spenders. You're never going to be that level. So step back and just do the things you like. If you like Hydra, just do Hydra. If you like the clan boss, keep pushing clan boss. Forget what I said about minimizing your damage on clan boss to minimum 1 key. Just do what you want. Do what makes fun for you, and don't do anything that doesn't. I skip the Doom Tower on all rotations but Fae. Curse City, I do when I have time. I certainly don't do it every day efficiently. I've skipped a ton of fusions, because for me fusions aren't fun. They're just about burning energy, opening shards, and I don't find that fun. I don't find that enjoyable. So just find out what brings the core of the game down to a manageable size that you find enjoyable, and stop there. That is the most important tip, and I hope you get it. Now, need some favors from you. Number 1, like, subscribe, notify. Number 2, leave in the comments down below what is your end game tip or trick that you do and must do, or maybe it's an efficiency trick, or maybe it's just something that none of us you seem to mention that you think is a worthwhile thing to do in the game. Let me know in the comments down below. But of course, as always, most importantly, please be kind, be safe, and we'll see you in the next video.